I like to ask people to reflect a little bit about the decisions or the policies we're pursuing, because in the international system, there's the main driving force in the international system is the security competition. You want to you mitigate conflicts by taking into account the adversary's concern. So what is the concern of our adversaries, be it China, Russia, Iran? And but if you can mitigate the threats to them, then they will not react in a way which undermines our security. So this should be a key part of our discourse. And but this also goes against a huge instinct in human nature, which is once you feel external threats, you demand full conformity, solidarity, and no one deviates, and everything is, we are good, the adversaries are evil, and suddenly you can't express anymore any understanding or empathy towards your opponent. And this is why it's so dangerous, because we're ignoring all the security competition, and this is also undermining our ability to enhance our own security as well as our economic interest. So we have to reflect how can it be that 30 years ago the main policy of both the Chinese and the Russians was to integrate as close as possible with the West. This was the main goal, and today we're talking about fighting wars with them. Where did it all go wrong? Was it simply that the other side was so evil and they didn't take advantage of or didn't accept our friendship as we reached out to them? No, I think it goes back to this idea. We're not able to see the world through the eyes of other countries anymore. And I think that this is our biggest problem, and it also ends up hurting ourselves. I mean, we spoke about, Germany as an example, and I remember from the first day of the sanctions, which began after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I made the point that there's no way the sanctions are going to work. I mean, this has been my main research focus, the economic integration, which Russia's pursuing with the East by decoupling from the West. I was making the point, the Russians can diversify, the Europeans cannot. Russia will be fine, Europe will go into economic decline and struggle. So for me, this was very obvious, but you can't say this, because if you say that the sanctions won't work, you're seen as undermining the trust in the sanctions, and suddenly you're talking, repeating the talking points of Putin, I'm being told all the time, because if you're pro us, anti them, you have to support the sanctions. So there's no appetite for any reflection. There's no discussions anymore, and suddenly we're making these huge discoveries now as Europe is going through deep problems. Germany is struggling. We're discovering that, wow, perhaps energy-intensive industries need affordable energy, and all this very obvious things which we should have talked about 2.5 years ago. We weren't allowed to effectively. So this is the main problem. Everything is good versus evil, and we can't have any basic discussions anymore unless, not unless anything. This is just the way it's become. So there needs to be. I wish free speech would come back, and we would scale back a little bit on the censorship and all this cancellation as well, because it's not doing us any favors at all.